Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Media Studios and worldwide through yorbamedia.com. I've got Nikolaos Tezapsidis, founder, president, and CEO, chairman of Neurotez, Inc. This company is working to find a new way to help with the cure of Alzheimer's. All right, Nick, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Michael. And it's Neurotez, let me emphasize.
Thank you very much for clearing that up. How about the...
I was surprised that you got my last name right and the company not.
Oh, well, I'll get them both with your help. Hey, tell us about yourself. You've got some pretty strong background in your industry sector. Give us a little background on yourself for our audience.
My background is primarily scientific. I have a Ph.D. in biochemistry, which I got at United Kingdom. Prior to that, I did my chemistry degree in Greece. And we moved over to the U.S. 20-odd years ago, continuing doing research in primarily academic environments. And it's only until 2005 that I decided academia is no longer for me, and it would be a good idea to start a biotech company, which essentially was based on technology initiated at Columbia University, my last academic post. And so I got permission to continue with prosecuting the intellectual property, and we started efforts raising capital to do the basic research and development activity that we needed to do in order to secure a path towards commercialization using the product that we are continuing efforts on in trying to get approval as a drug for Alzheimer's disease.
Now, you have really been carrying the load on your back to raise the money for the company and pushing this out. Let's talk about Neurotez and what it is that the product, what the product is, pardon me, and how you're really working to help the Alzheimer's problem.
Right. The drug that we are developing as a new therapy for Alzheimer's, a new novel approach, is an endogenous protein, a protein called leptin that in the past has been used against obesity. So effectively, our strategy involves a repurposing of an approved drug. I say approved because recently leptin has been approved for generalized lipodystrophy. And this is a rare disease, a metabolic disease, an orphan drug indication. And our strategy is to move forward with targeting a subset of Alzheimer's disease cases enriched with certain characteristics, a homogeneous, enriched group of Alzheimer's disease cases that most likely will benefit from leptin treatment. Regarding funding, we started early on by applying for grants through the NIH, National Institutes of Health, and this carried out, enabled us to do some of these R&D efforts and also apply for patents, et cetera, et cetera. And now we're in the process of raising capital from the private investment community. And I can't say more about that or I'll get into trouble.
Right. Well, no.
I was told by my corporate you should not be talking about funding.
Okay. Well, we won't. We won't. Let's talk about what it is that your drug that you're working on. What will it do for Alzheimer's? I mean, and how do you envision it working?
Right. Well, our belief is that Alzheimer's disease is primarily caused by metabolic disorders in the brain, and there's ample of evidence that exists to support that notion. For example, we know that one of the most strong genetic components in Alzheimer's disease patients is a gene product from called ApoE. And if you have one of those alleles, ApoE4, you are at higher risk of getting Alzheimer's disease. And ApoE is a known lipoprotein carrier. It carries cholesterol, etc. And that's an indication that there is a connection between metabolic pathways and CNS disorders, central nervous system disorders like Alzheimer's disease. Other evidence existed to indicate that, and there's a big school of scholars that believe that Alzheimer's disease is another type of diabetes, and namely it's been called type 3 diabetes. A big percentage of Alzheimer's disease patients have some form of insulin dysregulation, either hyperinsulinemia or even type 2 diabetes. And in fact, there have been drug efforts that include insulin as a potential drug and other insulin sensitizers like pioglitazone and rosiglitazone. And our approach, leptin, may be somewhat related to that category of compounds. It is an insulin sensitizer, but at the same time, we have seen its ability to ameliorate AD-like pathology. What I mean by that is that it is capable of lowering A beta, which is a peptide deposited in plaques in the brains of Alzheimer's disease patients. And it is also capable of lowering phospho-tau, which is another protein found in tangles, also found in the brains of Alzheimer's disease patients. Now, there's a lot of people that believe that A beta is the culprit of the disease. It is the agent that kills the neurons, the agent that causes for you to have the clinical symptoms. And others that believe that it is phospho-tau that is the culprit of the disease. And our notion is that we are fairly agnostic as to whether either of those are causative of neuronal death. What we do know based on our experiments is that leptin acts in a target that is upstream of both A beta and phospho-tau. And therefore, by engaging that target, and I'm not going to get into the details of which target we hypothesize or have evidence this may be, it can alter the metabolism of both A beta and phospho-tau in such a way that will prevent further cascades leading to neurodegeneration. And furthermore, leptin on its own is known to be neuroprotective. It is known to have neuroplasticity properties, and it is known to be at relatively low levels in Alzheimer's disease patients. So we will be employing a replacement therapy. We will targeting Alzheimer's disease patients pre-screened to have low leptin levels. And that comes back to what I said about our effort to target an enriched subset of Alzheimer's disease patients. There will be patients that will have both ApoE4 alleles. These are the genotypic characteristics that make you at high risk of getting Alzheimer's disease, and also pre-screened to have low leptin levels. And this will be our initial patient base to start our clinical trials.
Okay. And do you have any idea when those clinical trials may start?
As early as this year.
Okay. All right. I've got a million more questions, but if I ask you one more question, we're going to run into a commercial break. So let me do this. Let's take a break now, come back, and I'll start with a fresh battery of questions for you, all right?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Nikolaos Tezapsidis, and founder, president, CEO, chairman of Neurotez, Inc. Neuro, NEUROTEZ.com on the other side of this break.
Money Sense has moved. Jim LeCamp here.
And I'm Pat Riddell, and we've got a new time right here on KFXR, noon to 1. We'll talk about markets, investments, current information that you need to know.
Everything from personal finance to investments to money to markets to policies. It's a midday macro lunch you won't want to miss right here from noon to 1.
That's Money Sense for your midday market lunch right here on KFXR 1190. Or listen to the podcast on money-sense.com. Money-sense.com.
This is Dr. James, CEO and founder of Diamond Physicians, a direct medicine practice that combines exemplary customer service, state-of-the-art medical technology, compassionate physicians, and 24-hour medical access to revitalize healthcare delivery in America. Diamond is searching for investors to join the solution for rising healthcare costs. We have reached a paradigm shift in the healthcare market. Now is the time to invest in Diamond, a brand that has gained national attention by delivering affordable concierge medicine. Visit diamondphysicians.com/franchise to learn more about franchise opportunities.
MyComputerCareer.com. Sounds like an online computer school, right? Wrong. In fact, My Computer Career is the area leader for hands-on instructor-led training for career changers going into IT. And the hands-on doesn't end in class. You'll receive one-on-one tutoring and career coaching to help you master your computer skills and to prepare your resume, write powerful cover letters, practice for interviews, and find employment opportunities. Plus, you'll be first in line for new job openings that match your skills through our exclusive network of employers that prefer our students. It's your complete career change program. You'll be surprised at how affordable it is, and financial aid is available, including the GI Bill. So if you thought My Computer Career was just another online school, well, think again. Go to our website at mycomputercareer.com and take the free career evaluation. My Computer Career. Hands-on training for a better life.
NMLS, number 99250, 2233 Yale Street, Houston, Texas. I've known the folks that run Texas Lone Star for, 14 years, and I've only been on the radio for 9 years. I used to own a real estate brokerage firm, and one thing I learned is that when you find your dream home, if you can't get financing to own that home, then you're not going to. It's just a house you're going to drive by and look at. Once a couple falls in love with a home, they need to get the financing. And not just any financing. You can go on a lot of websites and they'll give you a loan, but it's terms that a year later you got to refinance because they're awful. I learned that Texas Lone Star could get loans done, oftentimes using their own internal money, so the decision was in their building. They could get the deal done. They were honest with my clients, and my people wanted to use them again and again. 214-295-8821. 214-295-8821.
BTJ Consulting was founded specifically to consult with accredited investors on how best to manage their oil and gas investments. The emphasis is not only on direct participation in drilling projects, but includes opportunities in the purchasing of oil rigs, service and equipment companies, real estate and/or the purchase of royalty interest through lease pooling. This strategy further mitigates risk and spreads their clients' investments over the entire sector whenever possible. For more information, call 469-518-5008 or info@btjconsulting.com. 469-518-5008 or info@btjconsulting.com. That's 469-518-5008 or info@btjconsulting.com. And tell them Yorba sent you.
Hi, this is Bernadette with Adrift Float Spa. Sensory deprivation is not an experience, it is the experience. Float today for only $59. Call us at 214-36-FLOAT or visit us online at adriftfloatspa.com.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Media Studios, worldwide through yorbamedia.com. All right, I'm joined on the show with Nikolaos Tezapsidis, founder, president, and CEO, chairman of Neurotez, Inc., Neurotez.com. All right, Nick, when we left off, you were talking to us about your new drug that you're going to go into clinical trials with later this year. Is this leptin, I think if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is this something that is looking to reverse Alzheimer's, so people who have it, prevent it, or slow down the progression of the disease?
Okay, more than likely it will be the latter. Unfortunately, there's some very hard lessons that we've learned from drug development efforts from big biopharmaceutical companies in the most recent history, which was that if you were to try to target disease pathology and develop a disease modification drug, you'd be very unlikely successful if you were to target late stages of Alzheimer's disease cases, only because the deterioration of the neuronal system is so far advanced. So many neurons have died that it would be impossible to revert those individuals to normal function. However, there's great hope that, and based on our continuous improved methods of screening and detecting and diagnosing early stages of Alzheimer's disease, we are hopeful that by intervening and treating early stage Alzheimer's disease cases will be more successful. And that includes our product too, which, as I mentioned in the first part of our interview, it targets and ameliorates AD-like pathology. And the fact that we are going to be targeting those genetically predisposed at-risk patients, not advanced to a great degree in the continuum of the disease, but at early stage, we are hopeful that we'll be able to at least halt the progression and stabilize those folks that are destined to get Alzheimer's disease.
So, in essence, at birth, we would get blood samples of the baby and be able to find out if they're prone to having Alzheimer's as they go down the road, and then be able to implement at what stage leptin to actually head it off at the pass, or do you need to actually start to show symptoms?
That is correct, because the ApoE4 allele carriers won't 100% guaranteed. It's not 100% guaranteed that they will get Alzheimer's disease. They are at higher risk. So you don't want to start anyone with any drug treatment unless there is some indication that they will develop Alzheimer's. And that said, there are a few familial cases, and this is the only a small minority of all Alzheimer's disease cases, that do have mutations of specific genes that inevitably will get Alzheimer's disease. This is a fully penetrant, a dominant form of familial Alzheimer's disease. Unfortunately, even for those folks, right now, there isn't any drug that you can give them or start giving them at a certain age that will prevent them from developing Alzheimer's disease. It simply doesn't exist. In the market, all we have today are 4 medicines, none of which have disease modification properties, that all provide some symptomatic relief for a short period of time, after which they become, unfortunately, ineffective. So in our case, in our drug, we also will be targeting early stage or patients that show some signs of cognitive impairment. We will have the screen that will suggest an ApoE4 homozygosity. This is folks that have both copies of the E4 allele of ApoE, and also pre-screen to have low leptin levels. Remember, we will not be screening everyone with leptin. The most likely respondent pool of AD patients will be those with 2 E4s and low leptin. And that comes to a relatively a small number of patients.
Okay, when you're starting the screening processes, how would a normal person know, hey, I need to start looking into this? What are some of the beginning telltale signals? That is it really in a blood test, or is it behavior?
First of all, it will be individuals that are complaining, for example, for problems with their memory, and those are the folks that will go to perhaps their physician and ask them to undergo more tests. We do have in our hands today a number of brain scanning techniques that could pick some pathological changes in the brain of those patients very early, even before clinical symptoms occur. In fact, you can have some of that A-beta deposited in your brain as much as 10 years before any clinical symptoms occur.
Oh, so you can head it off at the pass?
Yes. I mean, if there is, for example, a national screening initiative that would, force people to have PET scans as early as 40 years of age, and that would be a very comfortable time during your lifespan to have those PET scans, even if you don't have any clinical symptoms. You may get a readout to indicate, there's a possibility here I might be in the beginning of developing Alzheimer's if my PET scan is positive. And then, being aware of that, if you also do a genetic test, and that's an easy, cheap test that would identify whether you do have an E4 or not, then you're in an unfortunate route where there might be a therapy provided for you.
Got it. And then that's when they become a candidate for using leptin to get into an early stage prevention, or at least slow down the progression of the disease. Did I get that right? Okay.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Let's say that everything goes the way that you think it's going to go on your research as you move forward. Are we looking at extending lifetimes here? Obviously, behavioral changes, but extending lifetimes here with this?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. But most of all, it's the quality of life, not only that of the patient, but anyone that is around them and taking care of them. Can you imagine? I mean, remember, very commonly, Alzheimer's disease type of dementia is found in the elderly. And so these folks already have had a long life. And you can imagine how detrimental it is for them and their friends and relatives only to end it with such a crippling disease that changes behavior, that changes personality. They lose their memory, they lose their identity, and it's awful. And I've had personal experience on this with my own mother. I know how awful it is, the changes that the patient undergoes. It's just absolutely, and if you ask around, there's many people that have had close people with the experience of the disease, and it's quite common.
Now, I don't mean to interrupt you, Nick, but we've got about a minute left. So you are in the early stages of breakthrough technology with leptin, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. But before we go, please give us some contact information, because if something is this much of a breakthrough, and this, the show is primarily for investors who are trying to get educated on not only good investments but also breakthrough technology. Give us contact information so some of the people out there can follow up with you and contact you about engaging with you on this journey you have.
Oh, sure. First, our website, www.neurotez.com, will give you all the information that you need to contact us, including emails and phone numbers. My own email, Tezapsidis, Tezapsidis, @neurotez.com.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck. Good trading. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to today's program. The Traders Network is a production of Yorba.tv LLC and is streamed live and archived at yorbamedia.com. We invite you to listen live, join in the conversation real time, and link to the Traders Network on the Yorba Media website. All opinions in this show are that of the presenters or their guests, and not of this station's owners or management. These opinions are for educational purposes only and should not be interpreted as investment or financial advice. All investments involve risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Tune into the Traders Network every Monday through Friday afternoon here on 1190 a.m.